This is a brief history on the genre of house music, dance music, electronic music in general. What is house music? House music is electronic dance characterised by its repetitive 6-bar loop with a 4-on-the-floor beat pattern, with a tempo ranging from 115 beats per minute to 130. Notable house tracks from the past are Marshall Jefferson's movie Body, One More Time by Daft Punk, It Sounds Better With You by Stardust, and Lady Hear Me Tonight by Mojo. Where did house music come from? House music began with its origins in the 60s and 70s during disco's prime, which directly influenced the genre and how it wanted its rhythm sound. In fact, in 2007-2019, house music picked up where disco left off. In post-disco America, mainly Chicago, DJs decided they did not want a pop song sound. They wanted a more mechanical and robotic sound, more repetitive beats, deep bass lines, and sometimes no vocals. The media and rave culture. In the 1980s, the house music scene mainly took place in clubs, which presented the problem of being able to pay for fees to get into clubs. With the growing usage of narcotics such as ecstasy and acid, which was illegal at the time and prohibited in all clubs, people turned to illegal raves. These illegal raves would take place wherever people could set them up, usually in old aircraft hangars, derelict buildings, and some random fields sometimes. This sparked a series of news reports which over-exaggerated the whole scene, making it out to be drugs fighting or people overdosing. Yet all of these rarely happened, apart from the drug use. Throughout 2017 to 2023, there were 32 drug-related deaths at festivals and raves, with 18 being confirmed. And compared to the amount of people who attended raves in the 90s, it is very high, with roughly 20 people passing their 10-year span. The future of house music. What does the future of house music hold? The UK government is ruining the clubbing scene, with vibes skyrocketing and the price of alcohol being ridiculous. People will have nowhere to party without forking over a small fortune. This is where I believe we should look to the past to move on to the future. With the current financial situation of the clubbing scene being similar to how it was in the 90s, I believe that the underground raving scene will make a comeback and be as prominent or more prominent as it was back then.
How did the Prodigy's album Music for a Jilted Generation album cover reflect what was happening in the UK electronic dance music scene? During 1994, when Jilted Generations was released, is when the Criminal Justice and Public Order Act have recently come into place. The Criminal Justice and Public Order Act brought through laws to stop all the illegal raves and free parties. There was mass opposition to the act and people felt the law was fascist. There was protest, most notably the Hyde Park in London protest. Their law was believed to be put in as a response to the 20 to 40,000 people descending into Morton Castle Common and having a week-long rave. The track Their Law used a sample saying F them and their law and was aimed at the Criminal Justice and Public Order Act. One of the most talked about lines in the act is music that includes sounds wholly or predominantly characterised by the emission of a succession of repetitive beats. The Criminal Justice and Public Order Act 1994 is an act of the Parliament of the United Kingdom. It introduces a number of changes into the law, most notably the restriction in reduction of existing rights, clamping down on unlicensed rave parties and greater penalties for certain antisocial behaviour. Prime Minister at the time was John Major. The CJPO was introduced by Michael Howard, the Home Secretary of the Prime Minister John Major's Conservative government. Another group that released music in response to the Criminal Justice Act 1994 was Red Zone with their track Fight the Power. Do we skip?
Just press space bar again, it should hopefully take you. Factory Records, founded in 1978 and defunct in 1992. Factory Records were an independent record label based in Manchester. It originally was used for a nightclub around May 78 and has been known as the factory that was held at the Russell Club. The club was launched by Alan Erasmus and Tony Wilson and was helped by Alan Wise to gather many touring bands and other post-punk. The featured bands were Joy Division, Cabaret Voltaire and the Jurity Column. In early 1979, after the success from the Factory Nights, they made their first release called A Factory Sample, which was a compilation EP from the band at the time. In May 1982, Factory Records opened nightclub music venue called the Hacienda and became successful and attracted many locals. Later on in 1986, the Hacienda became one of the first venues to present house music inside the UK. However, the venue closed for good in mid-97 due to bankruptcy, as at the same time the later Factory Records themselves, as they declared bankruptcy back in 92. Later on in 1994, Tony Wilson wanted to bring back the label in the name of Factory 2 that was owned by London Records for around 3 years. It eventually split from London and decided to run as their own independent company instead. During that period, the label had some of the artists from the previous labels, such as the Jurity Column, Happy Mondays, Joy Division and Space Monkeys. Factory Records is one of the most interesting and most influential record labels in music history. In only 14 years, it managed to leave such amazing stories that passed on to generations and revolutionised the music industry by changing what people think about music in general.